Happy Friday, everybody. It's Miss Poquette here. I missed you all so much that I made a video so I could be here in spirit still. So we're going to go over page 517 first. For number 1, we need to remember it's an inequality, but we're going to do the same thing that we would do if we were solving an equation. So let's zoom in a little bit here. We need to get rid of the constant first. So we're going to subtract 14 from both sides. We'll have 6x is greater than or equal to 6. And then we need to isolate that variable, so we're going to divide by 6. And x is greater than or equal to 1. So when we put this on the number line, we're going to have 1 in the middle. We'll have 2 over here and 0 on the left side. So we can show that to the right is the positive direction and to the left is the negative. So then we are going to be greater than or equal to 1. So I know my circle is going to be closed. That is one heck of a circle. And then we're going to be greater than 1. So our arrow will point this way. For number 2, we need to add 13 to both sides. And we know that 4x is less than 24. We divide by 4 on both sides. X is less than 6. So that's our inequality solved. Then we need to put this on the number line again. So we're going to have 6 in the middle. I know if I go in the positive direction, it'll be 7. If I go in the negative direction, it'll be 5. I need an open circle. And x is less than 6. So I'm going to go in this direction. Alrighty, for number 3, I need to subtract 4. It's the constant from both sides. So I know negative 24 is greater than negative 2x. Then I'm going to divide by negative 2, and I will get positive 12. And we need to stop here and remind you of a very important rule when you're working with inequalities. When you divide by a negative number, you need to reverse your inequality. So I would flip the direction of my inequality. So now it would say 12 is less than x. Then I graph it the same way. I would have 12, 13, and 11. Still an open circle, but I need to read this as x is greater than 12, where 12 is less than x. So I know I would be going in this direction. So remember, when you're dividing your variable by a negative number, to reverse your inequality and flip it around. And then if you're having a hard time reading the inequality and wondering which way that arrow goes, remember you can look at your inequality as an alligator eating the bigger number. So in this case, that crazy looking alligator is eating x because it is a larger number than 12. For number 4, I know I need to get rid of my constant again, so I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Now that x over 13 is greater than or equal to 1. And I need to do the opposite of dividing by 13, so I'm going to multiply each side by 13. X is greater than or equal to 13. So then on my graph, I'm going to have 13 in the middle, 14 on one side, 12 on the other. Now I need a closed circle. And because it's greater than or equal to 13, I need to go to the right with my arrow. Alright, for number 5, it's asking me to write an inequality based on this word problem. So I know that Tyler needs at least $205 for the new video game system. So 205 is going to go on one side of my inequality. And because we're trying to figure out how many more hours he'll need to work to buy the system, we know that the total money he needs to raise is going to be greater than or equal to $205 so that he can afford it. So he already has $30 saved. He earns $7 an hour at his job. So I can add $7 and we'll call H hours. Then I'm going to solve this inequality the same way. So I need to first get rid of my constant from both sides. I know that 175 is less than or equal to 7h. I divide both sides by 7. H is going to be less than or equal to 25. And then finally, interpretation is just asking you, so what does H mean in this situation? In this case, when I go back and read, I know that this is the number of hours he will need to work. In order to afford the system. Moving on to page 519. And again, we need to get rid of our constant first, always. So I know that negative 73 plus negative 15 is negative 88, which is greater than or equal to 11x. And then when I divide by 11 to get x alone, x is less than or equal to 8. Negative 8, excuse me. So I'm going to put negative 8 on my number line. If I go in this direction, it's going to be negative 7 and negative 9. So then I know that I need a closed circle. And once again, I got to read it like an alligator. So it's eating the negative 8, which is bigger. So I know x is less than or equal to negative 8. So that's going to go in this direction. For number 20, I need to get rid of my constant, which is 2. X divided by 5 is greater than 3. So I'm going to do the opposite of dividing by 5. I need to multiply by 5. X is greater than 15. So when I graph this on my number line, I'm going to have 15 in the middle. If I go up, I'm going to go to 16. If I go down, I'll be at 14. I have an open circle, and x is greater than 15, so it's got to go in this direction. And for 21, I'm going to get rid of my 6 from both sides. I'm going to have 3 on the side is less than or equal to x divided by 14, or 1/14 x. So you can either divide by 1/14 or multiply by 14. So I know that 42 is less than or equal to x. I'm going to put that on my number line. I have 42, 43, 41. And x is greater than or equal to, so I'm going to fill in my circle and go in the right direction. Alright, our last problem is asking us, if Katie started a babysitting business and spent $26 to make the signs to advertise, how much does she need to make in order to make a profit if she charges an initial fee of $5 and then $3 for each hour of service? So in order to set up my inequality, I know that $26 is what she spent already. So what she makes needs to be greater than 26 in order to make a profit. So I know my variable is going to have to be greater than 26. That's how I choose my inequality, or the sign. So I know there's an initial fee of $5 plus $3 for each hour, so I can do 3h. I'm going to solve this inequality just like I've been solving the other problems by getting rid of my constant and isolating the variable. H is greater than 7. So once again, the interpretation is asking you to explain in words, what does this H mean in this problem? It means that she needs to work at least 7 hours in order to make a profit. And I need to practice writing on here at least 7 hours in order to make words that don't look like this. Have a solid Friday, everybody.